Hi, and welcome to the NFL Fan Forum. My name is Art, aka the Sea Cow, and here's my sidekick, John, aka the Cowlick.
What's up?
Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about the NFC East, but first, our play of the day.
Here comes pressure. Bortles sees it coming. Looking for Wharton in the end zone. Wharton behind the defense. Oh! Are you kidding?
The first team we're going to talk about is the Dallas Cowboys. Team owner Jerry Jones decided to finally move on from Jason Garrett this year, so now they have a new head coach in Mike McCarthy. McCarthy used to be the head coach of the Green Bay Packers and he actually won a Super Bowl with them. Do you think Mike McCarthy is going to take Dallas to the Super Bowl?
I mean, I don't want to say he can, but I think he could. It's just that their team has to gel together within this crazy pandemic that we're going through and this crazy training camp offseason that we're going through. So the big thing is they have to gel together. And if they can gel together, then they could be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I have to agree. This team has so much talent now on the offensive side of the ball. This is going to be an explosive offense this year. One noticeable loss, however, is tight end Jason Witten moved on to the Raiders. His veteran leadership will definitely be missed. Up front, the offensive line is still strong with tackle Trayvon Smith and guard Zach Martin. However, center Travis Frederick retired suddenly, and I think that's going to be a huge loss for this team. Getting back to the wide receiver group, led by Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and now rookie CeeDee Lamb, I really think this is a top-notch group. What do you think?
I mean, it could be, but the thing is, I've seen Amari Cooper in Oakland, and he did pretty good. He dropped a few passes, and I think he did drop a few passes in Dallas too. And I don't know much about Michael Gallup. I've heard that he's pretty good. And rookie CeeDee Lamb, I've heard that he plays a lot like DeAndre Hopkins. He is aggressive towards the ball. He never gives it up, and he can make a move or two on defenses. And he could be a very good player. So this could be a great trio of wide receivers.
I agree. This group is going to be very good. If running back Ezekiel Elliott can stay healthy and run the rock like he knows he can with authority, this team's going to be very tough to beat this year. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, the first thing that stands out to me is the strength of the defensive line. This defensive line looks very talented, starting with DeMarcus Lawrence, the additions of Aldon Smith, obviously Randy Gregory and Dontari Poe. Do you think these guys can get after the opposing quarterbacks?
After looking at it, I think they can, and they have a lot of talent too. I really do think they can get after the quarterback. One
consistent figure that stays on this defense is Sean Lee, the linebacker. He is the captain of this defense. In the secondary, we have a really strong safety tandem with Clinton-Dix coming over from the Green Bay Packers to join Xavier Woods. The only concern and questions I have is the young cornerbacks Chidobe Awuzie and now Trayvon Diggs, the rookie. What's your take on these corners?
Well, I know Chidobe Awuzie has a lot of talent, but Trayvon Diggs, we haven't seen him on the field yet, but I have pretty high confidence in him. He came from Alabama, and he's actually Stefon Diggs' brother. And from looking at Stefon Diggs, I think Trayvon Diggs has a lot of Stefon Diggs' genes, but in a cornerback form, and I think he could be pretty good.
He was a good draft pickup, and defensive coordinator Mike Nolan is going to have a lot of talent on this team for the defensive side of the ball. So now on to our predictions. Looking at this schedule for this year, it doesn't look too difficult. In my opinion, I think this team goes 11-5 and wins the division. What do you think?
I also believe they'll go 11-5, and I believe they'll be the division winner because they have a newcomer CeeDee Lamb. They have a great offense. They have Michael Gallup. They have Amari Cooper. They have Dak Prescott, and they also have a pretty good defense. And they also have a rookie in Trayvon Diggs. So I'm pretty sure they can be the division winner this time.
In fact, I think this team can push into the NFC Championship. Now, let's move on to the New York Giants. The Giants also have a new head coach in Coach Joe Judge. He comes over from the New England Patriots. Together with general manager Dave Gettleman, they had their first draft together, and their first pick was number 4 pick offensive tackle Andrew Thomas. How good do you think Andrew Thomas is going to be?
I think he's going to be pretty gosh dang good, in my opinion. Like, I looked at his highlights from Georgia, and he looked pretty solid. They have a new coach from the Patriots, and they also have Jason Garrett from the Cowboys as their offensive coordinator. So I think he's got a pretty good team around him. It just depends on if he can gel in with the team.
Former number 1 draft pick from last year, quarterback Daniel Jones, returns in his second season. If Danny Dimes can gel together with Jason Garrett in the offense this year, I really think this could be a decent offense. Jason Garrett should have a really good time being able to work with Daniel Jones. He's already worked with really talented quarterbacks in the past when he was at Dallas. He worked with Tony Romo and he worked with Dak Prescott. You think Daniel Jones is the future of this team?
I mean, I think he could be. I don't know much about him, but I've seen some of his highlights. He actually looks pretty promising. He's had some flashes and he's had some downsides too.
One player who certainly could help him a lot is running back Saquon Barkley. If Saquon Barkley can stay healthy, he is like the best, possibly the best running back in the entire league, in my opinion. Do you think Saquon will stay healthy this year?
I think so. I know he had that ankle injury last year, but I really think he can stay healthy this year. And if he can stay healthy this year, I know he can make a huge difference for this team.
As for the wide receivers, we've got a really good veteran group here. Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, and tight end Evan Ingram. How good of a wide receiver group is this for Daniel Jones?
I think it's pretty solid. I mean, they have Golden Tate, they have Sterling Shepard, who is pretty good in my opinion, Evan Ingram, and Darius Slayton, who was a rookie last year. And I actually like what I saw last year.
Turning to the defensive side, we have a lot of question marks on this team. The defensive line obviously has Pro Bowler Leonard Williams, but who else is going to step up? Maybe Marcus Golden? Do you think this defensive front has what it takes to pressure opposing quarterbacks?
To be honest, after looking at it, I don't think so. They have Leonard Williams, who's a pretty good defensive end, but from there, I do not know any other person other than him.
Of course, it doesn't help that cornerback DeAndre Baker got arrested and charged with 4 felony counts of armed robbery. His loss in the secondary will be felt. James Bradbury is a really decent cornerback, but who is Corey Ballantyne? He's just a young guy. The safeties are decent with Jabril Peppers and Xavier McKinney, but again, there's just a lot of distractions going on here. How good do you think rookie Xavier McKinney is?
I think he's pretty gosh dang good. Like, I looked at his highlights and his drafts. I think he's pretty good. He's a pretty good safety. I really do think he can make a difference for this defense, but he just has to gel with the team.
So let's move on to the predictions for this team. Looking at the schedule, it's pretty brutal. It's pretty tough. I just have a feeling that they're not ready yet. I think they're going to go 5-11. What do you think?
I have them going 4-12, and they're probably going to finish at the bottom of the division maybe. They have a pretty young team. I think they can step up next year, but this year I don't see it. But I think they have a pretty good team heading into the NFL next year, but not this year.
All right, well, let's move on to the Philadelphia Eagles. Last year, this team went 9-7 and won the division, despite tons of injuries on the wide receiver front. Head coach Doug Peterson realizes he needs his team to stay healthy. If this team could stay healthy, they have so much talent, especially with the draft they had this year. I really think they can be a very successful team. Speaking of injuries, quarterback Carson Wentz had one again last year. He really needs to stay healthy, just like the rest of the team, as we talked about. Do you think he's the guy that they're looking for to make this team better?
Well, I think he can. I mean, his highlights were pretty good. It's just that he had that injury, and that hurt the team quite a bit. But if he can stay healthy, I think he can make a huge difference for this team.
I'm curious to know what your feeling is of second-round draft pick quarterback Jalen Hurts.
Personally, I didn't like the pick. I actually laughed at the pick because they signed Carson Wentz. But I guess that they're worried about him getting injured again, and that's why they got Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, he could be pretty good. That is, if Carson Wentz gets injured again. But if Carson Wentz can stay healthy for the whole season and get his team to the playoffs possibly, there would have been probably no need for a Jalen Hurts. But if he gets injured, I guess it was a good move.
One thing I do like about this offense is running back Miles Sanders. What do you think about him?
I think he's a really, really talented running back. He's from Penn State, and I think he could be the next Saquon Barkley, in my opinion. I love how fast he can run, and I love how he catches throws from the backfield. And I think he's going to be a pretty amazing running back for years to come.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a very talented running back in the future, probably this year too. Getting back to the wide receivers, there's a lot of veteran leadership here. There's Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey and tight end Zach Ertz. These guys can really ball out when they're healthy. It's just a matter of, again, can they not get on the injured list this year? Anyways, I'm really curious about what your thoughts are on the rookie Jalen Reagor.
I personally think Jalen Reagor, he can be a pretty good wide receiver. When they drafted him, they didn't look at Justin Jefferson, who I think would have been a much better wide receiver than Jalen Reagor. I think they just valued speed more than catching ability and plays after the ball. I mean, Jalen Reagor, he could do that, but I think I would have taken Justin Jefferson over him. But Jalen Reagor, I think he can be pretty good, but we haven't seen him play yet, so I'm not too sure.
Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, this is a really good defensive line led by Fletcher Cox. Guys like Malik Jackson and Brandon Graham, these guys can really get after the quarterback. What's your take on Malik Jackson?
Malik Jackson, I remember him. He used to be a Bronco when we won Super Bowl 50. I don't know why we gave him up. And I'm looking at the Eagles depth chart. They're saying he's a backup to Javon Hargrave, and I don't get that. I don't know why he's a backup. I thought he was a pretty good defensive tackle, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see. All I know is that the rotation is really strong. I know you really like Fletcher Cox. Why don't you tell me about him a little bit?
Fletcher Cox, I saw him in the Pro Bowl. He is a beast. He's amazing. And I saw that play where he returned a fumble all the way for I think a 60-yard touchdown in the Pro Bowl. That was amazing.
Looking over at this secondary, I see a lot of experience, but I just don't see a lot of playmakers. Do you think that's the reason why they got Darius Slay from Detroit?
I think so. I think Darius Slay can make a huge difference to this defense. I mean, like I said with Fletcher Cox, he's a beast. Darius Slay is an absolute monster. He's probably one of my favorite cornerbacks in the league. I'd have loved if Denver had him, but he went to the Eagles. But that's okay. I can't wait to watch Darius Slay play for the Eagles. I think he's going to bring a lot of positivity into that Eagles locker room.
So let's talk about our predictions for this team. Again, it comes around to how healthy this team is going to be. I mean, it's all about the health. If they can stay healthy, this team is very dangerous. Looking at the schedule, however, I really think this team is a 10-6 playoff team, but not a division winner. What do you think?
I also have them going 10-6, which is hilarious. I also have them as a playoff team, like in the wild card, but I don't have them as the division winner. But I can see them in the playoffs, and I see this team going farther than the wild card game.
All right, well, let's move on to the Washington football team. This is going to be so weird, being a team that doesn't have a specific name. This is going to be really different. Just for fun, I was thinking of some names for this team. And by the way, leave a comment below if you have some answers and some names that you have as well. But I was thinking of the Washington Legends, and that sounded really awesome to me, actually. But they have come up with other names, such as the Red Tails and others. We'll see what they decide to choose. In the meantime, new head coach Ron Rivera takes over a team that's in turmoil after leaving Carolina, dealing with the coronavirus situation. I know all teams are dealing with this, but Washington's been hit pretty hard with this. Again, just taking over a team that is moving away from its old name, it's just going to be a very different and weird and different situation for them. Also, he's having to choose between several different quarterbacks to lead this team. Guys like Alex Smith, who just came off of injury. Dwayne Haskins, who he's shown flashes. We'll see what he can do. And then he brought Kyle Allen over from Carolina. Who wins this competition?
Well, to me, I looked at Dwayne Haskins. He's pretty good. But Alex Smith, he's coming off an injury, and I saw some highlights from him against Kansas City when we played against Kansas City. He was a pretty good quarterback. But when he had that injury, it had a huge impact on the team, and that led Dwayne Haskins to start. But I think Alex Smith, in my opinion, could be the starter. But Kyle Allen, I think he can be a third stringer, a third quarterback for the team. But in my opinion, could be wrong on this, but I believe that Alex Smith could be the starter of this team.
Yeah, Alex Smith does have a lot of experience, and he is a steady game manager. The problem is you have a running back that is pretty old in Adrian Peterson. I mean, he just won't go away, and he's still a good runner when he's healthy. But does he still have what it takes to lead a rushing attack? Especially with Darius Geis now getting arrested, and now he's probably out for the year. What happens with this running game?
I think they might have to get a running back from next year's draft, or maybe from free agency if there are any. But I don't know any running backs other than Adrian Peterson on the team. And Adrian Peterson, he's getting old and he's okay, but he's going to retire soon.
I'm wondering if they should pick up somebody like a Devontae Freeman. What do you think?
Devontae Freeman, he could be pretty good. I've seen him in Atlanta. He's pretty good. The thing is, he has to gel with the Washington football team's offense, and he has to get to know a whole new offensive change, and he has to gel in with the players. So he could be a good running back.
Looking at the wide receiver position for this team, I honestly am looking at Terry McLaurin and almost nobody else. I am happy that they drafted Antonio Gandy-Gold, and he's a decent wide receiver. I think he's got a lot of upside. But what's your take on this receiving group?
Well, like you said, the only person I know is Terry McLaurin, and he is an amazing wide receiver. And I've heard that he's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL, and I agree with that. But I don't know anybody else.
Looking at this offensive line, it's actually still pretty good, even with the loss of Trent Williams to the 49ers. Whoever runs the ball should have some decent running yards, whether it's Adrian Peterson or whether it's Devontae Freeman or somebody like that they bring in to help out Adrian Peterson. What's your take on the offensive line?
I mean, like you said, it's pretty decent. I mean, losing Trent Williams in free agency was a huge loss, but I still think they can recover from that. I don't know anybody from it, but I've seen that it's actually pretty good.
Where the offensive side of the ball is a little more unsettled, the defensive front seven, I am very impressed with these guys. When you have people like Montez Sweat and Darren Payne and Ryan Kerrigan to go along with rookie Chase Young, this is going to be a sack-happy defense if you ask me. What do you think of Chase Young?
Chase Young, oh boy, he is a monster. Like, he was known in college as the Predator, which is an insane name. But I really think that this defense could be, this rushing defense could be like a number 10 possibly if they step up. And Chase Young, he's going to learn a lot from Montez Sweat. He's going to learn a lot from Darren Payne. It's going to be a heck of a defense. And don't forget, their new coach who came from the Panthers is a defensive-minded coach, and I guarantee you he's going to have a lot of fun with these defensive ends and defensive tackles.
Yeah, to back up this defensive line, you've got some really good linebackers with Reuben Foster and Thomas Davis. Thomas Davis knows Ron Rivera so well from Carolina days. yeah, this front seven, I think they're going to be a real feared unit in this year. In the back end, this is a pretty veteran-looking group. Obviously, Landon Collins leads this team in the secondary. But you've got a lot of good young players there. That Fabian Moreau, he's really good. And bringing over veterans like Sean Davis and Ronald Darby. Sean Davis came over from the Steelers, and Ronald Darby came over from the Eagles. This is a decent secondary. What do you think?
I think it is. It's okay. Losing that cornerback that went to the Seahawks was a huge blow for the Redskins.
Yeah, Quentin Dunbar, yeah.
From there, I don't know anybody in the secondary, but I think it can be pretty decent from looking at it. It looks okay. I do have faith more in the defensive end, defensive tackle, like the rushing defense more, than the secondary more. But this secondary, it could be pretty good this year.
So let's move on to the predictions for the Washington football team, which I'm calling the Legends. But again, you let me know what you think. My prediction for this team, based on the schedule and the lack of offense, it's going to hurt them a lot. I just think they're going to go probably 6-10. What do you think?
I have them going 4-12, tying with the Giants. They could possibly be worse or better than the Giants if they prove me wrong, but they're probably going to be like third worst in their division, or possibly even the worst in their division. But that pass rush can possibly win them some games. I'm excited to see that, but it all depends on the offense and the secondary.
So that's going to do it for our analysis of the NFC East, where we have Dallas winning the division and we have Philadelphia going to the playoffs. Tell us what you think in the comments section below. Be sure to destroy that like button and subscribe to our channel. By the way, turn on the notification bell for future uploads. Thank you for tuning in today. This is Art
and John
signing off.